Hello, folks. Jim Voss, high above the garage in Aiken, South Carolina, in the man cave. Man cave sign fell down. We'll fix it tomorrow. And I was thinking about buying a new car, maybe. And I was thinking they're going to push electric vehicles on us anyhow. So why not do what I do best? Do some research. Let's find out if the switch is really worth it. I understand now why Biden shut down the pipeline. I also understand why we are becoming dependent on foreign oil again. And here's what I found out. Biden made the switch too quickly. In other words, he should have waited about 2 years into his presidency before he started drawing down on our resources. We are not the worst polluters. We do not have the biggest carbon footprint. So it would be kind of idiotic to think that we could lead the world in becoming the premier conservationist to lessen the carbon footprint. China has no restrictions. India has no restrictions. Russia has no restrictions. Some of the biggest continents on the earth do not have any restrictions and will not participate in the accord. Never will. Never going to. If we had been allowed to develop, and a lot of people don't even know this, the discovery 6 years ago in North Dakota, South Dakota, gave us enough oil for 300 more years. 300 more years. That's not being developed. The drilling on federal land was stopped to choke us a little tighter in order to move us forward. In other words, Biden and this administration wants us to go electric, but they want us to go now. There's no phase-in process. You cannot stop one, oh God, how do you say it? The one thing that we rely on every day of our lives, and will for many, many years to come, that's oil. We've got to have it. We've had to have it since we built that first locomotive, since we, oh Lord, built that first steam engine, since we built the first of everything, we got to have oil. If it moves, we got to lubricate it some way. If it is a big engine, we got to have oil. If it's a little engine, we got to have oil. In between, we got to have oil. We are being pushed into the world of electric everything as we speak. But it is not easy for us to break the dependency on the oil that we have. My suggestion almost 2 years ago was a phase-in. In other words, we go ahead and drill in North and South Dakota. We capture that 300 years of oil, and we are totally and forever and ever, amen, free of oil dependency. If we had started this by now, in 6 years later, we would have been pumping in North Dakota and South Dakota. There would be zero, let me say that again, zero need for any oil from anybody else. We could satisfy all of our needs and help the rest of the world who likes us, take them off of the people who use oil as a bargaining chip. So the pipeline was cut. The pumping in, I hate having to pause because I can't remember where I was. So if this is redundant, I'm sorry. The pipeline is cut. North and South Dakota has all of the registered permits cut. Our basic production stays the same. We're 1 million barrels short a day. So now we got to go start looking to our enemies to give us oil. The facts and figures that I found is that the automotive industry has been told that by the year 2035, and I know that sounds like a long ways off, it's actually 13 years, that they cannot produce any more internal combustion engines. Everything that comes off of the assembly line will be electrical, regardless of the size of the car or the truck. Now, the push is to move that up to 2030. Now that's only 8 years away. That there will be no more internal combustion engines rolling off the assembly line. Now, what they do about imports, I don't know. Probably they will be given the same marching orders. Our loss is 75,000 auto workers across the board, instantly. And it will be more than that because of one of the cons to the electrical car industry. Now, if we're looking at putting less of a carbon footprint, okay, it's a good deal. The bad deal is a battery operated car, an electric vehicle, whatever you want to call it, does not have as many internal working parts as a combustion engine. Therefore, production of a car will not take as long. Therefore, fewer and fewer automotive industry people are going to be needed. Second of all, batteries and things of that nature will not be put together by hand. They'll be put together by machinery. That means more of a job loss. Okay, I'm going to go out here and buy me an electric vehicle. It's not going to be any good on trips because I won't be able to find a charging station between Aiken, South Carolina and wherever I decide to go. I would have to plan my route so that it would have a charging station in the middle. Now, there is no fast charge on these NiCad batteries that are running these electrical vehicles. A full charge will take between 6 and 8 hours. So you plan your trip, then you plan on what hotel you're going to stay in, where you're going to plug up your car, if there's one close to the hotel you're going to stay in, and then you can continue with your trip the next morning. The range is so vast between some cars and the better vehicles are between 125 traveling miles and 325 traveling miles. If you need a charger in your home, I looked up the cost of that. The total cost to have it installed in your garage and the cord and the plug and all this other good stuff is around $1,000. That's for a decent system. You can get cheaper ones, yes, down to $395. But if you want it to last and you want it to be part of the house, I guess that would be a selling point if you ever wanted to sell the house. It's going to run about $1,000. So plan on one thing, and it takes. But the good thing of it is, I put $70 worth of fuel in my Durango, and it was only half empty. The total cost to charge that car every day for a month is around $60. So that's your fuel consumption. That's your motion lotion right there, around $60 a month. That's a heck of a lot less than I'm spending on gas right now. Of course, the refineries, we have to look at a 70,000 personnel job loss there at the refineries, because we will not need to refine but about 10% of the gasoline that we're doing right now. The initial cost is the kicker for the electrical vehicle. If you want one to last, a good electrical vehicle will run you around $60,000. Now, Cadillac's got a brand new, good looking, total electric car out, $87,000. But if you want your all around small SUV for your family, you're looking at $60,000. And to that, add the $1,000 for your garage. You're talking about anywhere from $60,000 to $65,000. Now, how long does the battery pack last? The average battery pack for replacement is $5,000. So, you got a $5,000 bill waiting on you every 4 to 5 years. That's for a brand new battery pack. A refurbished battery pack, because I checked on the disposal of what they were going to do with these millions of battery packs. Well, the difference is that a regular car battery is not at a point that they can grind it up and use it for something else. An electrical is. They will take and grind I don't understand the whole process, it's very complicated, but they grind up these battery packs and they make them into, I guess, second-hand battery packs, and they go into industry. They don't come back to the cars. They go into industry to be used in stores and things of that nature. So, the problem is we've been used to getting motion lotion from Exxon and Mobil and wherever you buy your gas. And we're hooked. We're hooked on that. We've been hooked on the combustion engine forever. Can we change overnight? No, we can't. Can we change in the next 10 years? Sure. Not change completely. We will never change completely, because if you just sit down and you think about those things that must have a massive amount of electricity to run, you know, oh God, there's just so many things. Everything. How are you going to put a battery pack on a tractor? How will you put a battery pack on a train? I don't know. I'm just not that kind of a science type of person. Are we better off to go with hybrids to start with? Half an engine, half a battery? Yeah, well, 50 miles to the gallon. We have to do something, even if it's just us trying to clean up the atmosphere. And we can do that if you think about the amount of cars that are on the road, and that the amount that they want to replace with electricity. Now, here's my concern. And you cannot get a straight answer on this one. I don't care what you Google. I don't care where you do your research. When will they make the internal combustion car illegal to be driven on the streets? You say never, never, never. Don't even do that. Don't wash your hand. I'm going to screw you with this one. Remember? That's the DC magic. I think that it will come about just about the time that they tell Ford and Chevy and General Motors and all of those folks, you can't produce any more internal combustion engines. And I think there's going to be a moratorium there, and then it's going to be at this date in time. Let's just say January 1, 2035. You can't have an internal combustion engine on the road. It must be a half and half, a hybrid, or it must be all electric. Well, I'll probably be dead and gone in 15 years, so. But I worry about my children and my grandchildren, how they will survive this change. Let's just say that we're going to plug up all the cars, and no one wants to admit that our electrical grid right now, they are predicting millions of households will have rolling brownouts this summer, because this summer is really, really bad. Next week, right here in good old South Carolina, 103, 104, 105, and 107 in South Carolina next week. That's the temperature. So we're going to tax 300 million households to plug up their cars to add this energy to a grid that is already failing. Trust me, if I were the bad guy, I wouldn't fly a plane into a building. I'd just simply take out the grid. You take out the grid, you have no electrical impulse going to anywhere, which means no computers, no cell phones, no house power, no refrigeration power, no staying power. Can't order food, can't order fuel, can't order anything. They don't know where to bring the food. They don't know that the local food line is empty and the shelves are bare. Why? They can't order. It's all computer now. Won't be any phones. Won't be anything. No form of communication. Can you imagine that? My grandchildren will go crazy. There will not be any cell phones to play on. No televisions to watch. We'll have to go to the emergency radio just to hear the broadcast of who's going to get food and wherever. So I'm going to pitch my little last-ditch effort. Start you a food locker. They are now talking about a worldwide shortage of food. Many of our farmers, they cannot afford the diesel, so they are not planting. There is going to be a worse shortage of food. I have 6 months of food. You should have at least that. You don't have to have extravagant meals. Pastas will go a long, long way. Noodles are cheap as all get out. And I buy extra every time I go to the store. So I continually to add to my locker. I don't want to be the doomsday guy. Okay, that's one of I lost a lot of readers on Facebook because I was a doomsday guy. I'm not a doomsday guy. I'm a basic military guy. I believe in being prepared for what's coming. I mean, if you're going to take a hill, you got to know what kind of firepower they got, how many people they got, that kind of thing. Then you got to plan accordingly. Well, we have to plan accordingly also that there's not going to be a whole lot to go around. There's not going to be a whole lot to share. Those who have the money will get whatever they need. Those of us who are just middle of the road folks are going to be out here scavenging. Stock up on everything that you can possibly think of and make a plan. Have a plan. Have some fuel stored away. If it's not but 20 gallons, have you some gas cans full and ready. Keep your cars full. All of this could have been tempered and put off until the attack would cause less casualties, attacking everything solar and wind and electrical. Everything could have been lessened if Joe Biden wasn't so hell-bent on making us totally electric. But haven't you heard? He's been pounding the drum. We are in the best economic situation we have been in the last 40 years. I don't know what planet he's living on, because it's tough out here for the average guy. People who are working a straight 40-hour week and can't get any overtime, that gas bill is eating our ass up. But Joe doesn't seem to care. He's been across the pond begging our enemies for more oil when we're sitting on 300 years of oil right here. 300 years of oil right here that he won't touch. I don't know. How in the world do you understand what this guy is thinking? Because I don't think even he knows. Okay, it's your choice, whatever you want to buy. But I'm telling you, that gas guzzler in a few years ain't going to be worth a plug nickel. I don't mind going electrical. I just don't like being pushed and prodded when I don't really want to do it right now. Until then, I'll give you another update, and we'll do another podcast in a couple of days. Thank you for listening. We've got listeners now. We've got over 100 listeners, and I really, really thank you for that. I'm glad we think the same way. The sign behind me says it all. I'll take the nasty tweets, and I'll take $2 a gallon gas. And I'll take a businessman over the poster child for the Federation of Retiree Homes, and a vice president that does the horizontal mambo for what she wants. We have no leadership. Nobody's behind the wheel. No one's steering the ship. No one's at the controls. No one's flying the plane. Anyhow, that's it. From high above my garage in Aiken, South Carolina, Jim Voss, your host. We're going to sign off now. Just remember, I'm not always politically correct, but I'm always correct. And the reason is, I have a bad habit of looking shit up. So if you want to be right, if you want to get in your next political argument and you want to be right, grab the facts. Now, let me warn you against liberals and Democrats. We will rely on truth, not facts. That came from Krusty the Clown himself. Signing off here. I love you, mean it. We still have that long overdue beer to go get. We need to go bowling. Let's go fishing. Let's hold hands, take a shower together. I don't know. We'll do something. I appreciate you listening. You take care of yourself, okay? Stay what you are. Black, white, brown, yellow, coward, hero, moron, idiot. Stay what you are. Be proud of what you are. And think about Trump in 24. I love you. Bye-bye.